It is a truth universally acknowledged that a player on Star Citizen must experience at least one bug each time they play. Bugs are a fact of life with Star Citizen and, well, it is an alpha, so that's to be expected. And Star Citizen is not alone in that. In fact, most games these days launch with bugs. Yes, I'm looking at you, Redfall. Each studio identifies and fixes bugs typically through feedback from players. This can be via platforms like Reddit, Twitter, or Discord, and in many games it can be by clicking on an option somewhere in the menu. Cloud Imperium games have a different way of doing it. The Issue Council, an area on the website where players can report new bugs and contribute to reports that have already been made. And with Alpha 3.20 currently in testing with the Evocati group, now is the perfect time to show anyone unfamiliar with the Issue Council how to go about getting involved. In order to start reporting bugs on the Issue Council, head on over to the Robert Space Industries website. At the top of the page where you see this dark blue bar, there's an option for apps with a downward arrow. Expand that menu and Issue Council is there at the bottom. Click on that. Now you may need to sign in. It depends if you're already signed in on your main account. If you're not, just go through the process, click sign in. Hopefully your credentials are all ready there. Click remember me and sign in. And once signed in, that will then take you to this page. There are two options here. There's Star Citizen and Issue Council bugs. We're not going to worry about the Issue Council bugs for this video. That's kind of self-explanatory what that's for, and we're not here to look at bugs with the Issue Council itself. So click on Star Citizen and that will take you to the dashboard. Let's take a brief tour of this screen. At the very top left, you've got a change option. That changes from the project Star Citizen to the Issue Council bugs as we saw on the previous screen. Chances are you won't use this option very often. You then have the button to report a new issue, and this is for brand new issues. You've already looked to see if anyone has reported a particular problem before and that's still open. You click this option and we'll go through that a little later. Below, you then have 4 different types of menus to look at. You've got all issues that are currently reported, any issues that are trending, any issues that are almost confirmed, and then any issues that are expiring soon. Below that, you've then got issues that you yourself have reported, issues that you've contributed to, and any issues that you're following, which typically will be ones that you've either reported or contributed to. Although you may choose just to follow certain issues, just in case you want to contribute to them later. We head over to the top right, we've got a notification bell, which notifies you of any additions or updates on your reported issues, contributions, or followed issues. And then you've got a settings menu, which we will take a look at shortly. In the middle here, you have the search bar. And this is one of the first places you'll come to when you're looking to add a report. You'll search for the issue here. You'll type in some keywords and you'll see what comes up before you decide whether you're contributing to something existing or whether you're creating a brand new issue. Below that, you've got a list of some recently opened issues, so you can see how long is left on those, an overview of what the issue is about, who reported it, how many more reproductions are required to confirm it, and then a button for you to contribute to that particular issue. Below that, you have some recently confirmed issues. These are ones that have reached the number of reproductions required to confirm and are still available for other players to contribute to. And again, we'll go into that in a little more detail shortly. And then below that, you can actually see some issues that have recently been fixed. I would recommend next taking a look at the settings so that you do this once right at the start and pretty much never have to worry about it again. So head up to the settings option in the top right hand corner and drop down to the My Devices option. As you can see, I have already set up my PC as a compatible device, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to pretend I haven't and show you how to do it. If you do play Star Citizen on more than one PC, you should really set it up for each device that you use if you plan to be using the issue council. So click on the add a new device option, and this screen then gives you two options. You can upload a DXDIAG file, or you can enter the configuration manually. I am only going to look at the DXDIAG file because personally, I wouldn't have a clue what I'm doing with entering the configuration myself. If you are confident doing it, by all means, go ahead. The bonus about the file is they have actually put on there a help guide on how to do it. So you hold down your Windows key, hit R, type DXDIAG in the text field and click OK, and then that will generate a text file. Once that's generated, there's a save all information option, and save the file somewhere on your PC, whether that be desktop or somewhere else, and then you use this option to upload the file. Once that is uploaded, you will then be presented with a screen that looks something like this. You can again upload another DXDIAG file, or you can enter it manually from there, but you will also have your device set up as already uploaded. So you've got your operating system, your hardware, details about your graphics card on there, and then you can optionally add other information about your network, about your peripherals, anything else that might be pertinent about your device, and if need be, your device's name. All of this information is sent to CIG whenever you either create a report or when you contribute to an existing report, and you'll see that when we go through submitting. So what do you need to do when you want to report an issue? Well, the first thing is you have to search to see if anyone else has reported that issue already. Now, I've recently been using the Drake Vulture, and I have been coming across a particular issue that I do need to report to the council. And that issue is that sometimes I start stripping a hull and the animation is there, but the percentage isn't going up and the figures aren't showing that any RMC is actually being harvested. So you have to search and you use certain keywords. So it will be something like hull stripping not working, and you see results for hull stripping not working. So you have a look at what comes up, and the first thing that's coming up on this one is a lot of archived and closed issues. So materials being gathered, constellation spawns empty, hull animation only shows on one side, a lot about the visuals, but there's no open issue at the moment. So the next thing I would do is I would come up to report a new issue. And if you click that button, the first thing you've got to do is you've got to give it a title. So again, hull stripping, or actually, let me change that. Hull not stripping. Let's learn how to spell correctly. When animation shows. So some keywords there that people might need to look for if they want to look for the same issue. Now, the next thing the issue council does is it shows you some possible duplicates. So always check those, because it may be that you've searched, you couldn't find it, but the system itself has said, could it be like this? And we actually may have an issue there. So we have salvaging doesn't yield any material. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to view this particular issue. And as we can see, somebody accepted a salvage mission for an Anvil Valkyrie. They traveled to the location with a Drake Vulture. They salvaged one SCU of material. The filler station then ejected that first crate, After that, salvaging did not yield any more material from the ship hull, despite everything being operation and both lasers showing valid. It does also state that the vehicle hull status is declining and the hull is clearly being stripped, but no extraction rate is shown. Now, this is the exact issue that I have been having. So this is why it's really important to try and use the correct keywords and check those possible matching issues. One thing that the issue council do not like is multiple open issues for the same problem. It is so much more efficient and it will result in better resolutions if everyone just reports the same issue under one heading. And they will actively delete or archive duplicates of an existing issue. If we carry on having a look down, you can see it has been confirmed. And we've got more detail about what happened. It says what should have happened. And you do need to enter what result you were expecting from the action you were going to take. And then if you had a workaround, you can enter in there what your workaround was. So in this instance, this person stored the vulture and then reclaimed it, took it back to the location, and was able to strip the hull again until the issue repeated. Then you have the option of any evidence that you can add. So this might be screenshots. If you have it on a YouTube video, you can put the link to the YouTube video on there. And of course, it's always handy to put a time code in there for the devs to go and check out. And there are also some contributions here from other people. And then there are a lot of other entries from all the other people who have confirmed this particular issue. So in this case, I don't need to open a new issue. What I do is I click the contribute to this issue button, and we go to this button that pops up there. So we then are asked, did you experience this issue? Yes, I did. What impact did this have on your gameplay session? And then we have 4 options. There's polish, in which the gameplay itself is not affected. Playable, in which it can be worked around. Hardly playable, impacts gameplay severely. Or critical, which means it's completely game breaking. Now, this person entered it as hardly playable. I would agree, that is the issue I was having with it. So I am going to click hardly playable as well, because I kind of agree there, and click next. It will then automatically include your device, which you can change if you've got multiple devices. You've then got the game version, which at the moment, that is the game version I'm using. Again, you would need to edit it, and your game settings, and already the settings are updated. You then can add anything. So if you've got any evidence yourself, you can upload it, again, a photograph or a video or YouTube link, and any other comments that you may have had. I'm going to add a slight comment here saying I had exactly the same, except I found that storing my vulture did not reset the issue, nor did logging out or logging straight back in. And it would help if I could spell. And I'm going to submit that. And I have now contributed to that particular issue. Now that I've submitted that, if I just go back to the top of that particular issue, we've got an option there to follow the issue. Now, because I have contributed to it, I'm automatically going to get updates. So I'm not going to click that. But let's say I saw something, I hadn't experienced it myself yet, but I wanted to keep an eye out for it in case I was going to test out and see if I could actively find that issue. I might choose to follow it so that it's easier for me to come back to, and then I can also track the progress. And just to show you some other details on this, as you can see, you've got 122 contributions to this particular issue. Now, when it comes to contributions, the devs won't pick an issue up with only 1 or 2 people contributing. In fact, there is actually a minimum number of contributions for it to be accepted as an issue to be pursued. You need at least 10 people or 9 people plus the original poster to contribute so that it then becomes something that can potentially be looked at. The higher the number of contributions, the more likely it is to be escalated by the devs and looked at with like higher urgency. So if you do have the time to contribute to any issues, I genuinely would encourage you to maybe set one evening a week, one evening every fortnight or something, to actually log into the issue council, look at the almost confirmed issues, and see if there are any there that you think, you know what, I've got an hour, I've got 2 hours, I can go and test that out and see if I have that problem so that I can contribute to it. And if you look here on the almost confirmed, we've got a number of issues that are very, very close to being confirmed. So inventory items not auto stacking. We need 1 more reproduction to confirm that issue. Respawning on a ship, 2 reproductions. Several, in fact, that only need 2. So it might just be worth 1 evening, 1 afternoon at the weekend, whenever you've got spare time, you don't necessarily want to get too stuck into anything. Just jump on the issue council, see if you can reproduce it, contribute to the issue, and then you're really doing CIG and the whole player base a big favor by making sure that these issues are brought to the devs' attention so that they can actually fix it. Before we carry on talking about the issue council, I'd just like to take a moment to talk to you guys about the Star Citizen referral program. Now, if you are a new player who hasn't yet set up your Robert Space Industries account, if you do so, please look to use someone's referral code. If you have a friend who plays the game, or a favorite streamer or content creator, or if you're just on the Reddit page where you can search for some random referral codes, enter this code and you will get 5,000 UEC to use in the store when the game goes live, but also you get 5,000 AUEC to use in the alpha right now. Once you use that code, your chosen owner of the code gets a recruiter point, and those recruiter points build up to various rewards, such as some gimbals and guns, some vehicles like a Grey Cat buggy, a Gladius. You get access to certain ships in Arena Commander, and at the moment you can go all the way up to ships like the Blade, the Glaive, and even up to the Aegis Javelin. Now, everyone who has an account on the game gets their own referral code, so you won't be losing out on the opportunity to earn these items yourself. The code must be used when creating your account. You can't go back at any other time. So if you've already created an account but you haven't made your first pledge, you can always go and create a new account and make your pledge on that one. To activate the rewards, the code must be entered, and then you must make your first pledge for a minimum of $40 in the game store. So that will literally be your first ship pledge, will cover that cost. If you would like to use my code, it is there on screen now. Big thank you to the 14 people who have used my code so far. And I recently got up to the 10 mark and got the Gladius, which I was then able to upgrade to the Vulture. So big thank you to everyone there, and to the people who hopefully will use my code in future. Now, let's get back to talking about reporting a brand new issue. Over the last few weeks, I have had one particular issue that comes up quite frequently. It doesn't seem to be specific to any one ship. You can see it on screen now. There seems to be an issue where the UI, while on a ship, kind of completely loses resolution, and it's really random as to when it does it. So, and it will come in and out Like sometimes it'll be absolutely fine, beautifully crisp, and then at other times it just completely deforms. So I want to report this as a brand new issue. So as always, let's have a look on the issue council first, just to make sure that it's not there. And it seems like a pretty easy one to search for. We're just going to call it UI blur. Really simple. Click search, and there we go. So we've got a load of issues, and a lot of them have been archived already. So what we're going to do is we're going to change it to the open ones, just to have a look what there is. And we've got a few different options, but just having a look at all these descriptions, we've got a multi-tool customization. We've got an issue with the star map, difficult to read because of text blurriness. And that's kind of it that's there. So we don't actually have an open issue for something similar. So let's head over. We'll click the report a new issue button and we will get started. So first of all, as always, we've got to give it a title. So I'm going to start with ship UI randomly blurs. And once again, I can't type for you know what. We've got a couple of potential similar ones. We've got shop UI, we've got the ship loadout manager blurred, and we've got the prospector quantum HUD is blurred. None of them are quite right. So I'm going to say I've checked these issues, and the next thing it asks us to do is to confirm the device that we are on. So I'm not going to change anything. We've already set up. I'm going to say this is my device. What are your game settings? Again, it's all there. It's already populated. I'm not going to change anything. I'm just going to say these are my settings. But in both of those instances, if you do need to edit them, you can go in and you can edit them beforehand. It then asks you about the game version. So at the moment, we're in the live 3.19.1 and the current version. Not going to be playing it on a previous version personally, but I'm sure there are some people who maybe haven't done an update. So we'll click this is my version. And then we have to select an issue category. So we've got all these options here, and there's a ship UI one right down there. We're going to click on that and we'll click next. How bad is it? So again, we've got to select the severity. It's a polish issue, playable issue, hardly playable, critical. I'm going to say this is a polish issue because it's not stopping me from doing anything. It may get difficult when it comes to maybe combat, but I think at the moment it looks more like a polishing issue than anything else. So we'll select that and we'll click next. And then you have to describe your steps. So in this instance, I boarded Mercury Star Runner, entered pilot seat. We then powered up the MSR. We requested departure, took off and retracted landing gear, left the hangar, and then we can just say opened. No, I didn't open anything. As leaving UI blurs. And there's 8 steps. I'm going to leave it like that. Fairly simple. And we'll click next for that. What happened? So this is where you can actually add evidence as well. So I'm going to click on here. And I'm going to select a file on my computer. You guys shouldn't be able to see that pop up. But I do have a screenshot that I have selected. Make sure I pick the right one. So it's this one right here. And that will get uploaded to them. And if I had this up as a YouTube video, I could go back later once this video is actually posted and give them the link here and the time code. But we'll leave that. So we'll click save to that. And just a brief image. So just as leaving base station. The UI on my MSR blurred. This is a repetitive issue, random, clears up and blurs frequently. There's not really a lot else that I can say. And we go to next. What should have happened? Well, the expected behavior is quite simple. UI should have stayed crisp constantly. And then did you find a workaround? No workaround, just kept playing and it happens randomly. Next, any other evidence? So we could add any more evidence we had, but that is the simple process. You click submit your issue. And there you have it. So that is now available for other people to look for. Now, what can be a really useful thing to do here is if you go and copy the link up there and head over into Spectrum, there is a testing chat in there, and you can post it in that chat and ask people if they can go and take a look, see if they can replicate it, see if it just happens randomly to other people so that they can then contribute to this issue, upvote it, add their own evidence, and there you go. Hopefully get up to the 10 votes that are needed. Now, as you can see, it's open for 11 days. If it doesn't get the 10 examples, then this will get archived. Obviously, if it does, then it will get investigated further. Now, one other thing I did want to show you, and if I go back to the evidence that I have submitted, because this is a really good opportunity to point out the thing that's in the top right-hand corner there of this screenshot, and that is the QR code. Now, you can enable this and disable this as you want. It's in the settings menu under graphics. That QR code is there for the developers to use. They can scan that and it will give them information like what shard you're on, what server, and so on, to help them pinpoint the issue on the specific server shard and so on. So it helps them locate and be able to replicate the issue themselves. They can look at everything that's going on in the background on that server at the time and see if there is actually anything else there that is causing the issue. It may turn out that it's actually an issue on my end, but it may not be. But it's important that they're able to investigate that for themselves, just in case it is something that they need to fix. And that really is the simple way of reporting a new issue. At this point, I want to make something really clear to people, just in case people are getting the wrong impression. You are not required in any way to submit anything to the issue council. It is completely voluntary. Yes, you've paid, you're taking part in an alpha, but there is nothing in the agreement that you've signed when you signed up that you will submit reports at all. That being said, I think it's actually quite an interesting part of being involved in an alpha, the fact that you and I as players can play quite an important part in helping getting the game up and running, particularly if you're playing on the test server, not just the live server, although it's just as valid for live as it is for the PTU. It benefits us as players, CIG as the developers, and Star Citizen as a whole if more of us do get involved. But you know, I don't judge anyone for not doing it, and I wouldn't expect anyone to judge me for doing it. I would ask that, if possible, if you are able to occasionally, if you do come across a bug, or if you're kind of bored one afternoon and not quite sure what you want to do on Star Citizen, just have a look on the issue council, see if there are any bugs that are close to the 10 that they need, to see if you can go and replicate the issue and add it on there. Again, you don't have to, but the more people who can do that, the better. It's also worth pointing out that the more people the more you do and the more active you are on the game, the better chance you've got of being part of the Evocati group, the group of players that are specifically selected by CIG because of their quality of reports, number of reports, the amount of time they spend on the game, to get involved in some of the earlier stages of testing. So if that is something that interests you, then absolutely get as involved in the issue council as you can. Play the game as much as time will allow you to, within like healthy reason, and you can have that kind of real pleasure of playing a massive part in the development of the game. I do a little bit of the issue council stuff every so often. I don't do it religiously. I don't do it every week. When the PTU is up, I do try and submit reports or add to reports, because in my personal opinion, that's why the PTU is there. So if I'm going to have access to that, I might as well give a little bit of something back to the game. But again, that's me. That's my personal perspective, and I don't expect anyone else to do it just because I say it's a good idea. I'm going to leave the video there, guys. Thank you very much for watching. If you've learned anything from this video, or if I've got anything wrong, please let me know down in the comments. If you've got any tips or anything, I'm definitely more than happy to hear them. I will point out that I actually did learn something doing that video. Just before I recorded this final section, I actually got a notification on the issue council and found out that the one that I reported as a new issue was actually a duplicate. It's just the way I worded it and the way I looked for it, there was a slight discrepancy and it didn't bring it up as a match. So that's just taught me something about maybe being a bit more thorough in searching for an existing issue first. But yeah, if you liked the video, if you enjoyed it, if it was useful, give it a like. And if you want to see some more Star Citizen content from me, because there is more coming, hit that subscribe button, turn on that notification bell, and be ready for some more videos coming out over the next few weeks. But until next time, guys, happy hunting in the verse, and I'll see you all soon.